Hare Krishna, thank you for joining. Let's do Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Gir Varadhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Gir Varadhari. Shodanandan Rajjana Ranjana Shodanandan Rajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyan Anjana Shalakya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutle Samrupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Nitam Tam Sajivam Sadhuetam Savadutam Krishna Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Paranmami Hari Priya Vanchakalpato Brihascha Kirpa Sindhu Bevacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo 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 Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Dishatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shri Vasdi Go Bhakt Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Mukham kroti vachalam pangum langyate girim yat kirpatam mande shri guruni taranam pramanadam advam shitstaneshram hariyam tassat Narayan namaskritya naram cheva naruttamam devim saraswati vyasam tato jayamuduriyat nasta prashabdrisya nityam bhagavata-Sevayā bhagavati uttam shloke bhakti bhavati nishtiki. Hare Krishna. So thank you once again for joining. And last time we were talking about our options. We can worship demigods or worship Krishna directly. Even if you worship demigods, eventually we will get to Krishna, but that's eventually, because we understand now when we worship demigods and we get the results, we understand that there are superior powers to us who are out there, and they have facility. So we start investigating. So who are these superior powers? Is anyone above them as well? And who is giving them this facility? Who is giving them the power? So we start investigating. And eventually, after many many births, probably we get to the point that Vasudeva is Vasudev Sarvamiti. So eventually we'll get the point that yes, Krishna is the source of everything. So yes, so at least we're on the right path. But it's all about evolution. We're evolving. So most people think that evolving means getting better facilities, material facilities. You have like now driverless cars. The drivers will be there at the beginning, and then eventually we will have cars that we'll have enough competence for the cars to control, take full control, and we just sit there and get to our destination. Air taxis are coming up. People, they'll be cheap enough for people to use air taxis. No longer the billionaires have to dig tunnels in London to get to their to the railway station because there's too much traffic otherwise. So like that, it's people think that's evolving, but real evolving is finding a relationship with Krishna and doing something about it. And we also said that we should use everything in the service of Krishna, all our qualities, skills, and everything that we have, our habits, use them in service of Krishna. And knowledge should be understood from a pure devotee, not from our own speculation or from other dry speculators who there's no bhakti involved. It's just their own concoction, or there's no sweetness in it. It's just that they have their own opinions on things, and we start believing that opinion as well. So yeah, okay, let's continue. So we should be on 13. Okay. Shonakavacha iti abhiviharitam raja nishamya bharta shabha kim anyat pristavan bhuyo vyasakim rishim kavim. So Shonak Ovacha, Shonak said, iti thus, abhiviharitam, all that was spoken, Raja the king, Nishamya by hearing, Bharat Rishbha, Maharaj Parikshit, Kim what Anyat Mo Pristavan did he inquire from him, Bhuya again, Vyasakim onto the son of Vyasadev, Rishim, one who is well versed, Kavim, poetic. So Shonak said, the son of Vyasadev, Srila Sukadeva Goswami, was a highly learned sage, and he was able to describe things in a poetic manner. What did Maharaj Parikshit again inquire from him after hearing all that he had said? So we just got a snapshot of Shonak Rishi with the sages, and then we go back. O pure devotee of the Lord automatically develops all godly qualities, and some of the prominent features of those qualities are as follows. So the qualities of a devotee or a pure devotee: he is kind, peaceful, truthful, equable, faultless, magnanimous, mild, clean, non-possessive, a well-wisher to all, satisfied, surrendered to Krishna, without hankering, simple, fixed self-control, a balanced eater, sane, mannerly, prideless, grave, sympathetic, friendly, poetic, expert, and silent. so many qualities, and not easy to find somebody with all these qualities. A balanced out of these 26 prominent features of a devotee, as described by Krishna Das Kaviraj in his Chaitanya Charitamrita, the qualification of being poetic is especially mentioned here in relation to Shukadeva Goswami. The presentation of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam by his recitation is the highest poetic contribution. He was a self-realized learned sage. In other words, he was a poet amongst the sages. So as one progresses on the path of Krishna consciousness, the 26 qualities of the devotee should become more and more prominent. So it's progressive. Again, it evolves. It's a progressive process. It's not like just wake up one day and have all these qualities like that. It's just that see hints of those qualities. As described Krishna Kaviraj in CC, we can do two things. We can cultivate these qualities consciously. Secondly, if we focus on the quality of surrender to Krishna, from that quality other qualities manifest. So consciously try to be, for example, kind and so on. These qualities could be seen visible in Srila Prabhupada in his interaction with his disciples. So as we surrender to Krishna, and the more we surrender, because surrender is also a long process. It's not like we suddenly become totally surrendered. It takes time to fully surrender. As we understand Krishna, as we appreciate Krishna, as we purify, so we start, we get more and more surrendered, mentally and physically. And it's mentioned that as we get surrendered, we start acquiring, as we're surrendering, we are relating with Krishna, we are associating with Krishna. So we start getting his qualities. These are Krishna's qualities that a pure devotee acquires. But we should be consciously also trying to get these qualities. So it's a push and pull scenario. We should also be pushing. Krishna will pull us towards him and give us these qualities, but we should also be pushing for them ourselves as well. We should try and understand pride, and we should try and be a balanced eater. And these things we can do ourselves. It says self-controlled, so we can control ourselves, right? And we should control our hankering, and we can be sympathetic and friendly. We can be silent. Silent, it doesn't mean that you stop speaking to people. It means that you only speak the language that is necessary. Talk about Krishna and not just mundane talk all the time. Waste your time, your energy, and other people's time as well. Just talk about what is relevant for Krishna consciousness. So that's 13. Etat Shushuramishtat Vidvan Sutana Harasi Bashitum Katahari Katho Darkaha Satam Sahu Sadasi Dhruvam. So etat this Shushrushtam of those eager to hear, Vidvan, learned, Sutta Goswami, Naha unto us, Arhasi, may you do it, Shitum, just to explain it, Katha, topics, Hari Katha, Udar Kaha, result in the topics of Lord, Satam of the devotees, Sahu, maybe, Sadasi, in the assembly of, Dhruvam, certainly. So, O learned Sutta Goswami, please continue to explain such topics to us, because we are all eager to hear. Besides that, topics which result in the discussion of the Lord Hari should certainly be discussed in the assembly of devotees. So as we have already quoted above from the Bhakti Ras Amrita Sindhu of Rupa Goswami, even mundane things, if dovetailed in the service of the Lord Shri Krishna, are accepted as transcendental. For example, the epics or the histories of Ramayana and Mahabharata, which are specifically recommended for the less intelligent classes like women, Shudras, and unworthy sons of the high caste, are also accepted as Vedic literature because they are compiled in connection with the activities of the Lord. Mahabharata is accepted as the fifth division of the Vedas after its first four divisions, namely Sam, Yajur, Rig, and Atharva. The less intelligent do not accept Mahabharata as part of the Vedas, but great sages and authorities accept it as the fifth division of the Vedas. Bhagavad-Gita is also part of the Mahabharata because it is spoken in that, pastime, and it is full of the Lord's instruction for the less intelligent class of men. Some less intelligent men say that Bhagavad-Gita is not meant for householders, but such foolish men forget that Bhagavad-Gita was explained to Arjun, a Grihastha family man. And like Bhaktivedanta Thakur says, Gre Thakur, Vane Thakur, Sada Hari Bole Thakur. So it doesn't matter if you're a Grihastha or a sannyasi, this Krishna consciousness is for everyone. And spoken by the Lord in his role as a Grihastha. So Bhagavad-Gita, although containing the high philosophy of the Vedic wisdom, is for the beginners in the transcendental science, and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is for graduates and postgraduates in the transcendental science. Therefore, so Bhagavad-Gita, although containing the high philosophy of the Vedic wisdom, is for beginners in the transcendental science, and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is for graduates and postgraduates in the transcendental science. Okay, so Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is considered graduate and postgraduate, whereas Bhagavad-Gita is for everyone. Everybody should read it, and even if they're not devotee, just read it. That's the first thing you read, really, is Bhagavad-Gita. Try to put things into perspective. Therefore, literatures like Mahabharata, the Purans, and similar other literatures which are full of pastimes of the Lord are all transcendental literatures, and they should be discussed with full confidence in a society of great devotees. Interesting. The difficulty is that such literatures, when discussed by professional men, appear to be mundane literature like histories or epics, because there are so many historical facts and figures. It is said here, therefore, that such literatures should be discussed in the assembly of devotees. Unless they are discussed by devotees, such literatures cannot be relished by the higher class of men. So the conclusion is that the Lord is not impersonal in the ultimate issue. He is a supreme person, and he has his different activities. He is a leader of all living entities, and he descends at his will by his personal energy to reclaim the fallen souls. Thus he plays exactly like the social, political, or religious leaders, because such roles ultimately culminate in the discussion of topics of the Lord. All such preliminary topics are also transcendental. That is the way of spiritualizing the civic activities of human society. Men have inclinations for studying history and many other mundane literatures, stories, fiction, dramas, magazines, newspapers. Yeah. A lot of people love reading, so let them be dovetailed with the transcendental service of the Lord, and all of them will turn to the topics relished by all devotees. So if you love reading, and there is so much out there, read, you got this big, you got the Sunday Times, that's to get Sunday Times. There's like so many magazines in there, and these are called the big papers. You could spend whole Sunday.
Broadsheets.
Yeah, broadsheets as well. Yeah, so you could spend a whole Sunday trying to read them. It's just like crazy, so much to read, and how much effort gone into that. And they're like something for everyone, just like the Vedas. the Times, Sunday Times especially, has something for everyone. So let them be dovetailed with the transcendental service of the Lord, and all of them will turn to the topics relished by all devotees. The propaganda that the Lord is impersonal, that he has no activity, and that he is a dumb stone without any name and form has encouraged people to become godless, faithless demons. And the more they deviate from the transcendental activities of the Lord, the more they become accustomed to mundane activities that only clear their path to hell instead of return them back home, back to Godhead. Yeah. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam begins from the history of the Pandavas with necessary politics and social activities. And yet Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is said to be the Paramhamsa Samhita, or the Vedic literature meant for the topmost transcendentalists. And it describes Param Jnanam, the highest transcendental knowledge. Pure devotees of the Lord are all Paramhamsas, and they are like the swans who know the art of sucking milk out of a mixture of milk and water. So, His Holiness Sriram Swami is explaining in his class that in this country it's illegal to be, not to go to school. It's illegal to be illiterate, right? If you are taking, if you're a young person and you're just roaming around, the police can stop you and question you the why you're not at school. So to be illiterate is illegal. And similarly, in God's law, so that's the law of the land. If it's illegal, then it's that means a law of the land. So in God's law, being an atheist is also illegal, right? Maybe it might not be illegal in the human law, but by God's law, it's illegal. Nobody needs to be atheist. They should go to school and learn from the Paramhamsas, the Param Jnanam. Srila Prabhupada brought these teachings to the West, and he convinced the atheists that Krishna is there, God exists, and they learnt about material bondage, about the cycle of birth and death, and how they can get out of it, and going back to the spiritual world, that we are a spiritual soul. Everything. Atheists don't believe in anything apart from probably just sense gratification in one form or other. So in God's law, atheism is illegal. It's a sinful activity.
Illegal.
Huh?
Illegal is illegal.
Illegal. Yeah. And so we have to help these people as well. Srila Prabhupada explains that it's every Indian born person's or Indian responsibility to educate people. It's our duty to educate people to become educated in Krishna consciousness. So that's 14. It is mentioned that eagerness is a sign of attachment. We should be eager to hear and discuss about Krishna. So we got to learn first before we can teach others. With regards to dovetailing, we should be very careful so that we don't confuse our attraction to what we are dovetailing to bhakti. For example, if you like yoga and you think I will teach yoga to people and convert them to Krishna consciousness or bhakti yoga, you have to be careful that your interests lie. So it depends on your potency whether you are able to convert people. Your interest in what you are dovetailing may become an obstacle. So you have to understand intelligent, like what are you giving to people. Srila Prabhupada is a Paramahansa because he has extracted relevant teachings and essence from different scriptures and different acharyas. He has given us the milk in a digestible way or form. So this is why this one is mentioned here, because of what you want to dovetail, you have to understand that, which is relevant and which part is irrelevant as well. So it's like yoga. You don't, you give them bhakti yoga, not because you like yoga, so you teach everyone yoga and like that. But that's not necessarily a spiritual. It's good for the body, but it's not necessarily a spiritual activity. So you have to understand which part is relevant, which part is irrelevant. Well, hopefully, we have the intelligence to understand that anyway. Okay, so we'll do one more. Savai Bhagavato Raja Pandevyo Maharatha Bal Kridan Nakahi Kridan Krishna Kridam Ya Adade Sa He by certainly Bhagavataha, a great devotee of the Lord, Raja Maharaja Parikshit, Pandavaya, grandson of the Pandavas, Maharatha, a great fighter, Bal, while a child, Kridanna Kahi, with play dolls, Kridan, Kridan, playing, Krishna, Lord Krishna, Kridam, activities, Yahu are the day accepted. So Maharaj Parikshit, the grandson of the Pandavas, was from his very childhood a great devotee of the Lord. Even while playing with dolls, he used to worship Lord Krishna by imitating the worship of the family deity. In the Bhagavad-Gita 6.4.1, it is stated that even a person who has failed in the proper discharge of yoga practice is given a chance to take birth in the house of devout Brahmins or in the house of rich men like Kshatriya kings or rich merchants. But Maharaj Parikshit was more than that, because he had been a great devotee of the Lord since his previous birth, or even before he was born. And such, he took his birth in an imperial family of the Kurus, and especially that of the Pandavas. So from the very beginning of his childhood, he had the chance to know intimately the devotional service of Lord Krishna in his own family. The Pandavas, all being devotees of the Lord, certainly venerated family deities in the royal palace for worship. Children who appear in such families, fortunately, generally imitate such worship of the deities, which we have seen. We see little children, 2-3-year-old, singing and playing their mirdanga and bowing, paying their obeisances, even in the way of childhood play. By the grace of Lord Shri Krishna, we had the chance of being born in a Vaishnava family, and in our childhood we imitated the worship of Lord Krishna by imitating our father. So Srila Prabhupada is talking about himself. Our father encourages us all in all respects to observe all functions such as Rath Yatra, Dol Yatra ceremonies, and he used to spend money liberally for distributing prasad to us children and our friends. Our spiritual master, who also took his birth in a Vaishnava family, got all inspirations from his great Vaishnava father, Thakur Bhaktivinoda. That is the way of all lucky Vaishnava families. The celebrated Mirabai was a staunch devotee of Lord Krishna as the great lifter of Govardhan Hill, so Girdhari. So the life history of many such devotees is almost the same, because there is always symmetry between the early lives of all great devotees of the Lord. According to Jiva Goswami, Maharaj Parikshit must have heard about the childhood pastime of Lord Krishna at Vrindavan, for he used to imitate the pastime with his young playmates. According to Sridhar Swami, Maharaj Parikshit used to imitate the worship of the family deity by elderly members. Srila Vishma Chakravarti also confirms the viewpoint of Jiva Goswami. So, accepting either of them, Maharaj Parikshit was naturally inclined to Lord Krishna from his very childhood. He might have imitated either of the above mentioned activities, and all of them established his great devotion from his very childhood. A symptom of Mahabhavat Such Mahabhagavatas are called Nitya Siddhas, or souls liberated from birth, but there are also others who may not be liberated from birth, but who develop a tendency for divine service by association, like the Westerners. And they are called sadhana siddhas. Okay. There is no difference between the two in the ultimate issue, and so the conclusion is that everyone can become a sadhana siddha, a devotee of the Lord, simply by association with the pure devotees. The concrete example is our great spiritual master Sri Narada Muni. In his previous life, he was simply a boy of a maidservant, but through association with great devotees, he became a devotee of the Lord of his own standard, unique in the history of devotional service. Yeah. So, in terms of Varnashrama Dharma, Narada Muni was the son of a maidservant, and he would have done similar jobs to his mother. He would have also been a servant at that place. And to be honest, he ran away. He was smart enough to understand that I'll be stuck here if I stay. I'll be doing all these jobs for the rest of my life. I need to get out and get my independence. And he's only 5 years old. He understood that, and so he'll be considered like a Shudra because he's doing these Shudra jobs. But he had the opportunity to have the association of these pure devotees, and became an example to all of us as jivas. And so he has such a high post. He has the key to all universes. He can travel anywhere. He's a traveler, traveler, spaceman. And he's got he's so qualified to have that position. Wonderful. So Maharaj Parikshit was glorious because he was a great devotee. He was born in an elevated lineage from the beginning. Parents have a great responsibility towards the children as role models. And examples are Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, Parikshit Maharaj. So they all had great parents. That's what they have in common. That's why there's symmetry between these. They follow the example of their families. Children need to be born in Krishna conscious society, not just KC parents, not just Krishna conscious parents. So, we need the wider society as well. Once you're on the path, you will become successful. It's like a green mango will ripen, just matter of time. So if we have green mango, given the right conditions, we can become ripe, and and then everything becomes very sweet. Yeah, and yes, so children need to be born in Krishna conscious society, not just KC parents. So the society, there's many people, and like you might not always get inspired by your parents, but there'll be others who will inspire you in the society. So it's the Krishna, Iskcon is an international society of Krishna consciousness. Right? So Srila Prabhupada named it like that, international society. So society is very important, all working together. Thank you. Okay, let's very interesting topics. Where are we? Okay, sorry. Okay. Hare Krishna. Okay, so what are your views? Pundikaksh Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Again, each verse should be read one day each. 3 are very very tough to take in one class, and so many points, not one. I mean, before you understand one point, Prabhupada is explaining another good point again in these verses. So I was just thinking from the first verse, that when Prabhupada was asked by an interviewer that if you come to know that Krishna is not there, what you are believing is also not correct, then what will happen to you? And Prabhupada said, where is the loss? Because we live a nice life, peaceful life. We control our diet. We maintain our health also nicely. But when you come to know that Krishna is there, what you will do? You're not done anything what is supposed to be done as well. So a pure devotee develops so good qualities, and that will help them to progress in their life. And while reading this, we can understand that no more I'm close to any sort of devotion, because not even one quality of that is I'm having at the moment. Pride, I have lots of pride. I'm not silent at all. I'm not kind. I'm not peaceful. So many good qualities have been mentioned, and especially like we can understand about this only when you are part of a group discussion. I mean, like these sanghas help us, because when we read initially we get some understanding, but when we are a part of a group we get bit more understanding, and we invite senior devotees, we get more and more understanding. So the people read know about Bhagavad Gita, sorry, Mahabharata they know, Ramayana they know, but they don't know, many of them, that they are part of this like Bhagavatam, or they are part of the Vedas, like they considered to be fifth Veda, and that's why they don't know about the soul, or don't think of about the soul, but they know Bhagavad Gita and they make their own inferences from Bhagavad Gita. That's why we have to be a part of a nice group where these things are discussed very nicely and clearly. So I was just I heard like, I think Srila Bhaktivedanta Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj or Vinod Tagore gave class on 30 days on Bhagavad Gita 1.1 version. I was not sure, Prabhuji, you can tell me. But when I was looking for that, now I understand that Bhakti Siddhanta Goswami Maharaj, he gave a class on 11th canto, and the topic was Labda Sudhurlabha Idam. On that, he gave class for 30 days. And after giving 30 days, he said, I barely touched the true depth of the verses. So when you hear about these from a devotee, you can explore so much. Like when we hear classes by like Raju Hari Prabhu or any other senior devotees, the same topic what we read, it gives us into completely different dimension. Like Shubhala Shubha, when you explain Ramayana, you get so many lessons from that. So always learn this, understand this from senior devotees. It helps a lot, and the group discussion helps very much, Prabhuji. And there is so much in these verses, but I'm ending here. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Yeah, this is the thing. There's so many layers, as explained. Like Bhagavad Gita, 108 verses that we do. One class can be given in so many ways. Everybody will give it their own. There's so many layers. It depends on which layer you're looking at, and there's so many angles you can look at it,
Mhm.
like that. And your class, as you get more and more purified, your class changes. You
Yeah.
go into depth, and you can, to be honest, each verse, the purport itself has so many themes in there.
Mhm.
So you can just, you don't have to like talk about the whole purport. You just take some themes in there. You discuss that theme. You can take one theme or two themes,
Yeah.
just discuss them. This is why the classes tend to be different,
Yeah.
because which part you want to focus on more. So like that, because you only have like 1 hour. Like you say, if you're 30 days, maybe you could discuss a lot more of that verse. But for 1 hour that you have, you take a theme and you
Mm.
just go deeper into the theme, isn't it?
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. That's
Unless,
nice.
unless someone really elevated and talking about Radharani's earring, and
Mm.
they talk for many days just on the earring, and they say, "I'm going to just touch the topic like that," and we wouldn't know what to say about Radharani's earring. What do you say about Radharani's earring? It's very nice, and it's this and that. It's very precious. What do you say? They can make poems on it. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you. Nice.
And what you said about we follow the regulations. Krishna consciousness, you can't go wrong. We're learning so much knowledge,
Mm.
and we're learning about the soul, our relationship with Krishna. At least we might not, okay, somebody might say, how and this and that, but at least we can understand this bit, that we are a spirit soul. That should be the obvious, because there is a consciousness that we have, that it passes on to another body. There's different types of species, and people have talked about their previous lives, previous bodies they talk about, and we talk about ghost bodies. So that indication enough that there is a spirit soul that does not die. That
Yeah.
remains, and it travels from body to body. So you can't. So you're learning so many things.
Hmm.
Also, these four regulations that we follow, they are not there as a punishment. They are there to protect our bhakti, because you know getting into nonsense or any of these
Hmm.
is not good for the consciousness, and it will not help your spirituality. Can't do both simultaneously. And not
Hmm.
only that, I was speaking to Ajay about this. Says, look, we follow these four regulations, how good they are for our gross body,
Hmm.
gross and subtle body. These things are so good, because we're not indulging in intoxication and smoking, meat eating, right? Eating all these things, and drinking. You're just wrecking your health, right? People wreck their health one way or the other. They're just really abusing their bodies like that, by doing these things. So it's a protection to our body that we have been given as well. So how can you go wrong? There is no. It's a win-win situation.
Yeah. Nice word.
But it's only a win-win situation if we take it seriously. Otherwise, we're in no man's land. We're not
Hmm.
on this side, and we're not on this side. So really, even if you don't take it seriously, it's still, like I said, it's still, it's good for your health and everything, and you learn something. But if you take it seriously, then the more seriously you take it, the more you will gain from it. I think that's the idea. You'll gain, if you want maximum benefit,
Hmm.
then take it seriously. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Kiran Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yes, so much detailed in just a few verses. And I think for me, the realization is we've been through a journey in this life and in our previous lives, and we become lost. We become lost because we don't know who the source of everything is. And now that we know who the source of everything is, Vasudeva Krishna, then it makes our realization and our journey a little bit more real.
Yeah.
And the journey is one of evolution from being not fully conscious, we become conscious of evolving our bhakti, evolving our hearts, and evolving our minds in such a way that in that evolution doesn't mean to say you're climbing the ladder. Sometimes losing some things is an evolution. Losing our ego, losing our anger, losing our pride is an evolution. To become the das of the das of the das is an evolution, because you are pinning for the lowest of the lowest of the lowest positions, because you've let go of all your hankerings. And it's clearly defined what those qualities of those pure devotees are. To be kind, not just to be kind, to be even more kinder than before. And then to be peaceful, not just to be peaceful, to be even more peaceful than before. To be compassionate, to be even more compassionate than before. And to be equal and satisfied even more than before. And then we have to realize that all these things require for us, the green mango, to be in the right association, to be ripened and to fructify, because we have to have the association of other mangoes. Then only then we can have the fragrance, the taste, and the flavors of the best mangoes in the world and in the whole of the universe. That association will give us better self-control and self-realization. And this will occur because we are now have studied the Bhagavatam, we have also been through the Bhagavad-Gita. The Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is, it said, the next stage. And then Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is Krishna himself revealing all his finer paraphernalia and his details. Srila Prabhupada gave up nearly his life traveling to America, several heart attacks, and a bag and a suitcase of a couple of Śrīmad Bhāgavatams is all he had. He knew that this journey was necessary. If he was willing to make that journey from just being an Atma to becoming a Paramatma to becoming a Paramahansa, then why can we not take the lead from such great devotees? Parikshit and Narad Muni, it illustrates you don't have to be born in such elevated families. I mean, Narad Muni was born son of a maidservant, but there's a way of becoming a Vaishnava, and we've got that opportunity to be amongst Vaishnavas, and we are now amongst Vaishnavas, so our progress in bhakti can develop. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, very nice. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hina Mataji?
Sorry, Prabhu, trying to come off mute there. Very well. Hope everyone's well. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Yes, some very, very nice topics as always that we managed to cover. This topic about eagerness to hear, which the verse 13 covers off, which is lovely. I was thinking about this because I was listening to a class by Keshava Maharaj this week, and he made an interesting point about this listening piece, where he said that, in school we taught how to read and write, but we never actually taught how to listen, which is just an interesting observation. So one can go through their whole life and not really know how to listen attentively. And he also made the nice point about how Srila Prabhupada's guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, actually noticed how attentively Srila Prabhupada was listening to him. So it shows what that's obviously somebody that it's such a rare quality to say that, actually I noticed he was listening very attentively. So I was just kind of thinking about that, and he obviously it was certainly a very good quality of Srila Prabhupada, one that I think some of us certainly me, kind of is I find very challenging at times, listening attentively. And I was thinking about how, listening, the purpose of listening is not just collecting information in our heads. On the subject of Harikatha, we should be, I guess it should be changing what we think about and what occupies our mind. So, we are almost like churning what we've listened to, that we're churning that knowledge. And this verse actually teaches that we should be eager to hear, and we should be like seeking out those conversations that lead to and help us with the remembrance of Sri Hari, and also value the association of devotees, where these conversations can be had, and realizations can be shared, similar to what we're doing here. So I'm very, very thankful and very grateful for this sangha. And then also the topic about how in the case of Maharaj Parikshit, how his devotion started from a very early age in verse 14. And thinking about, obviously he was liberated from birth, but in some cases we find this natural inclination towards devotion or bhakti can happen from a very young age, quite randomly with children. And sometimes, and usually, that's based on the fact that they had great fortune in previous lives. You know, they must have performed bhakti to a certain level, and Krishna's giving them an opportunity to continue where they left off as well. So I was just kind of thinking about that too. So thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thanks so much. Yeah, that's a very good point you made about hearing. It's a very nice point. Because you're right, you know, we don't really hear, or we hear what we want to hear, or we seem to look like we're hearing, but we're actually thinking about what I'm going to say next, isn't it? We never listen to anyone, and we just and I think with Kali Yuga, one of the is they say Kali Yuga has many faults, and one fault is this ADHD. This people talk about. I think we all got it. Attention deficiency. We cannot listen for more than like 2-3 seconds. Our attention just goes off somewhere else. We all have ADHD as well. I know I have, because you just like attention just start daydreaming. Somebody's speaking, and so I mean the wives complain about the husbands. I was just listening to something, and the wife said, the husband was saying, actually a comedian. He was saying that my wife says I have ADHD because I don't listen to her like that. So I think we all have this problem. So, and I think it's probably more prevalent in the Kali Yuga that we cannot hear people. We just
Children don't hear parents.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see, we're saying that we never learn how to hear because parents, they try to tell the children that they don't hear, they don't listen. So yeah, it is a big problem, and but if we become conscious of the problem, then at least we can try and do something about it. Thank you so much, Mataji. Ajay Prabhu?
Hare Krishna.
Hare
The verse is quite, it kind of shows how Krishna arranges that the right people are put into the right situation. You got Shukadeva Goswami described as poetics. That's kind of a very important quality if you're going to do justice, not just because in terms of style, but actually able to present it properly, because obviously it's elevated personality present to narrate Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. You need to have standards in various situations, for various abilities. It's not just enough just to know what you're talking about. You have to present it as well, because especially those in Kali Yuga, who are going to be relying on this knowledge, they need to have it presented in a way that they can actually appreciate it. And then you've got Shaunak Rishi and the sages. Like Shaunak Rishi is so enthusiastic to listen. Again, it's an important quality. It's not just important to have someone who can preach, it's important to have someone who can listen as well. In this case, they're all very key. So that's a good example to all of us that we need to. It's sometimes with this listening situation, it can be a case of trying to. The bhakti is wonderful in that sense that there's a lot of variety there in terms of not only topics but how to approach it as such. So you can often just about finding what interests you, or where where you're gravitating towards. Because what can be very interesting to one person might not be so much interest to another. It's not bhakti in itself. It is purifying. It is interesting, but then we have our own whatever personal situations or whatever narthas or we're dealing with, whatever that we can't always necessarily relate to something the way we should. Then that's sometimes the case of that we are neither not doing something correctly, or we just need to maybe try to give ourselves a chance to try to approach it from a fresh perspective. You can, like I said, it was obviously the same verse heard from a different person is appreciated differently. So it's not necessarily always the case that you might be in the wrong. It can be just a case that sometimes you just need to just freshen things up. That's always useful because you see devotees, they'll go to different festivals, they'll go to retreats. They try and it's good to mix it up now and again, just because Krishna, it is supposed to be ever fresh. So if you are struggling at times with attention, then just maybe apply a different approach can help. So we just again the great devotees, lead by example. They teach us how to do things, and we can always learn from them, every time we read Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just thinking about on the hearing. I mean, Maharaj Parikshit, he actually perfected his life by hearing. So how important hearing is, and it is the Shravanam is the first thing that we have to do. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, everyone. My pranams to all of you. Yes, in verse 13, the qualities of pure devotees are told so nicely. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami also talks about 26 qualities. So many qualities, and even if I think we can have one or two primary qualities, or even the smaller ones, which seem a little bit easier to imbibe, I think hearing will be the most easiest in this Kali Yuga, and because the rest of them, they just because our mind gets attracted towards this and that, and it's very, very hard for us to keep it in all these qualities. When we read about these qualities, they sound very simple, but like everything else in life, the simple it sounds, the difficult it is to imbibe. And also it's in verse 14 it's talked about the satam, the congregation of the assembly of the devotees, and discussing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And Vyasadeva is said to be the greatest of the poets, and how lucky we are. We are actually, people talk about Shakespeare and other poets of our times, and here we have a transcendental poet who is evergreen, who is going to be coming again and again. Even the yugas will end, but this poet and his work will be at the top. Even the God has to come himself in an avatar to resurface his important work. So how important it is, and how blessed we are that we are able to discuss and we are able to hear them so many times. It's up to us how many times we want to do in a week the discussion, hearing, or contemplation on these things. It's the highest of the highest knowledge, and which is being given to us by Srila Prabhupada so easily. And yes, later in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the topics of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam come in Canto, later cantos, in Canto 11. And yes, Hari is the one which annihilates our bad qualities through the Harikatha. Harikatha, we elevate our souls, and this is our duty, this is our purpose of our life. Everything else is there to just bring the just to keep the body, the vehicle, which is going to help us in the service of the Lord, in the devotional service. And as much as we can discuss about Bhagwan, and as much as we can share what we've understood and clear our doubts about it, I think that is how we are going to advance in our devotional service, slowly, step by step. And it's so reassuring to hear these verses again and again, because these verses, they just peel the layers after layers after layers, just like in the former life when we all were peeling onions in our kitchens. And look, now we have stopped doing that. We have started peeling the layers of our doubts from our conditioned souls, and hopefully each time we sit in the katha, one layer is peeled off. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all so much for your input. Like you said, that when we work together and discuss, then we bring out so much that useful knowledge that we can use. And let's do that, and catch up again on Monday, and a week after we'll have the overview as well. So you want to get through these chapters, and at the same time learn. I mean, we can't always remember everything, but we do remember quite a bit as well. That because a lot of information we do use again and again. Let's use that information that we learned from previous topics, previous chapters, bring that onto, to the next chapter, and trying to use that as well. So it's sort of it's a good revision for us all. So thank you so much. Granth Rashmi Bhakti Vijay, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Prem Nande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you all. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.